What for supper, honey? What? If G and H what? Oh, go to hell. G and H. Usually it's silent in most words, but when it comes out in number 8 and you've moved all around the clock, you've got 8 by 45. That's 360 degrees. So how long does it take to screw the earth around? Just like some gentleman has said, I think it was on Free Talk Radio, if I can remember. But by Wednesday, you haven't even made it around one day yet. By the time it comes to Friday, which they call the 6th day, you actually haven't made it around yet. But at midnight, you have. Do you know why? Because only 96 hours have passed from Sunday to Friday. I came on here to fool around. 7 and 8 equals 15. 6 and 9 equals 15. And what do they create? J and E, 15. The letters of the alphabet according to the letters of their position. It says if, it says je, which means I, which means game, and GH. The God 7, the game of the gods. The gods are fooling around, put us here on these little islands, spun us around, I don't know how, but at the end they shut the light off and they called it night. 27 days later, it seems like there was an appearance of a moon. Someone was showing moon shadows. What do you think? Moon shadows and just a bright light? Lights and shadows? When does music actually start to count? When do the words actually start to have more of a meaning other than, oh, I should have loved him and I loved him and what's love all about? But don't you go a little bit deeper? 6 and 9, 7 and 8, what's between and what's on the outside? The if of 6 and 9 is on the outside. But you know what the 5 and 9 is? You see, 6 and 9 is 10 seconds after the hour. That's 70 seconds. Let's call that Resh. Nobody calls Resh 70 anymore. But 70 and 70 are pretty much equal. Resh. You ever see what Resh looks like when you turn them upside down to each other? Looks like one of them banister holdings. Looks like a little electronic sperm. But anyways, let me get back to this J-E. J-E, the 10th letter, it is Connecticut. But actually, 10 from go, you're on the corner. Oh, can screw anybody up. Are we on the corner or not? How much leeway are we allowed in this game that I play I call a puzzle? You're allowed as much leeway as you want until something bumps into what's in the way and splits you all the way split in half, making your split have a new fit to it. Now on the other side, that new piece can either stay there or go away. J, I, number 19, New York, spirit. You know what? Let me just tell you something before I forget. The cat is female, the dog is male. They can't remake the apple. I think that's what part of this world is also. The apple, okay, may have been sent here by God purposely so they can have another try at figuring out how man was put together and how the seeds fit inside the core. Let's call each railroad station number 5. So you would have E, 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 and E. But when you get to the second railroad station, it's after the second corner. So you'd give it E1. And then when you get to B and O, you give it E2. And when you get to short line, you give it E31. Oh, why do we do that? Well, because you can go backwards just as easy from go, dummy. Oh, don't call you a dummy? Oh, let me show you what he's holding in his hands for me. He's holding my supper. I am so hungry. I'm so into this. I'm down on the floor on my hands and my knees painting big and then scribbling in the little bits and lines that I could to try and create whatever comes out of it. I'll only know after what it's going to be. Somebody walked in here today and said, what's it going to be, the picture on your floor? I go, I don't know. I hope it's going to be something. Or whatever it ends up to be, I ain't going to stop doing it until I think it's something. Something that I can reflect on. You see the new cards that came out? You got a lousy 4 spots on it. What happened? This is the 8 card. Did something disappear? We're down to 4 now? Is it better to have 4 with the leeway of 90 degrees in between? 4 by 9 is 360 degrees. Should our days actually be the 24 hours instead of the 16 metric that I mentioned, which right now I'm down to 15 because I ran into a problem? The problem is number 64. You know why? Listen to this. 90 seconds in a 64-minute hour, okay, which ends up to be 96 minutes. Times 16 hours, it brings me into the next day. But times 15 hours, it brings me exactly to the lock position of 1440 minutes. 1440 or 2 days makes 288. 288 times 1.25 equals 360 degrees. Where do I get that number? Well, from 3 railroad tracks, of course. Where do I get what number? Made a little joke there and completely forgot what I was saying. How embarrassing. Anybody watching? I hope not. Thank God. Still says 0 on it. Maybe I'll get away with this by the time I find a new thought. The 4 spots on the card, the 36. Yes. Listen to this. In 1 hour of 90 seconds in each minute, but the hour is metric and it's 64 minutes, it will total to 96 regular minutes. 96 regular minutes at 60 is 5,760. Does anybody know what year that is? The year 2000? Pretty funny how it just ended up that way. 64 by 90. Another thing to look at. 49, 490, 49-yard line, 7 by 7, 49. They both made a score. Where do you want to go? See that key in between? You never get to meet, but you must always travel towards the other part of your mind. Now, are you on the top or on the bottom? Or are you center to both? Which part of this replica are you? According to the cards, you're the one in the center. Right over here on this dot over here. But you have to live over in one world or the other. This one, which is up, or this one, which is up. But you'll only be living in the up world. But this card can never go any lower than this. And then this way, it can never go any lower than this. That's all it can do. Tick, tock, tick, tock. Why? Because the angle is bought. You do not see 45, 45 in tennis because that angle is bought and sold. That number makes every other number work. Without that number, all the other numbers don't work. When you start seeing 45, there's a reason for it. Fox, 45. Wolf is 56. Flow is 56. Got my baggie. Got my bag right here. 2 hearts together, dot in the center. They should be over each other. And you see what it says on this? Okay, when I read it, ta-lit, right? Talit in Hebrew, or tough luck? Because this letter looks like the F more or less. It's tough luck. That's the way I see it. So we go in here, and what's it? Let's get out a kippah. Oh, what else is in here? Cards and numbers. I throw a number in, I pull it out, I say, hey, I just saw that number. You want to talk about the race cars underneath her chin? You want to talk about that sword that has no end point to it, has a top on it? See, the other one on one side has no top, the other one does. What is that sword? What is that? What's going on? Do you know? See what he's holding here? That goes around his back, suspenders. Don't forget he's divided. I like this one the best. Matrix hearts. You know why? Because that sword is stuffed into the back of his head, and that's the way he makes both minds work. He's got one on both sides into both worlds. And if you look at this one, in the center, it says 522552. And then the sun. And everybody knows the sun is 6, right? And now we have a new joker. Look at the star. The 5-point star, it's a joker. Reed Kojak. If you read it backwards, it says Reed Kojak. And if you look on his shirt, it says 1 year. But it's not 1 year, it's the vibrations off of his top. But if you really look, it says 1AL, which could mean angel light. It could mean anything. But he's dropping all the cards. And the cards that have fallen on the floor were 2, 3, 4, and 5. Then we have 3, 3, and 8 together, which is exactly what it is. What is 3, 3, and 8? It is the creation and the command of the energy of the two heavens. They call it the Christ. You see, I know the Christ. I've learned this in my dreams. It's an energy, okay, of both worlds. It brings in both good and evil. Because if it brought in only good, how would we learn anything at all? He brings in balance to everything. When John was born, when Jesus was born, I haven't read enough. I do know that Rubik's Cube, okay, if I can remember what this is, Rubik's Cube, the word Rubik's, R-U, sounds like Nibiru. R-U says street. R-U is the 18th and 21st letter. 18th and 21st, wait a second, in the 6th inning, after the home team went to the plate, they had struck out 18 times. And at the top of the 7th, the road team struck out 21 times, giving us the 7th inning stretch, R and U, 18 and 21, equaling to 39. 39 is perfect. 3 by 3 is 9. 9 by 3 is 27. By 3 is 81. You got it all done. Plus the cube 10, 91. Now you got the spirit of the turn of the wheel. 21. B is 2. 23. Creation of. Were. W is the letter that comes. So you have W-U-R. You can't say it the other way. Row. That's your car not starting. R-U-W. R-U-W? Well, fuck. How can he be W if you're you? Row. You can't start up when you're talking to yourself. So then you have the I is 9. So then you have 39 and 2 is 41. Holy shit, we're on the Mediterranean. I hope I don't end up on 4 train tracks, because otherwise I end up canceling out the Mayan calendar of 25/6/25. So we have 41, and then I makes 50. The dog and the cat. Nice. Then the X, 24. That makes 74. Oh, wait a second. 2 parts up, the Twin Towers, 2 out of 3 was 74. If I add up the numbers 1 to 36 and put them into a square of 9, the center one would be 74. If I multiply or add or just say 7 months of 31 days and 4 months of 30, 7 by 4 is the 28 days that I just spoke of, and now we have February. 7 plus 4 is 11. We have 39 again. 9 is eternal. 4 are the corners. 9 makes every number come back to its own number again, except for 1. After 1, you become 10. And 10 is like 20. And 20 is like 30. Because it's all the same. It's all part of the introduction of coming down that, whoa! Coming out of the barrel! Where are we coming out of the barrel? Of course, Niagara Falls in an energy barrel. Full of monkeys. Blue, but look, they're baby blue, they're yellow, and they're red. So is this the color monkeys we are? What colors do I get if I paint these up? And we all know that blue is turquoise. Okay? All those 3 energies is what you will find. If you ever look at the Power Rangers, they're always in this order of these 3 colors. Even Pikachu is yellow. Dragon Ball Z, you get the red and the blue. We all know this has to do with the salts of the Mediterranean. But don't believe that there's only one Mount Sinai in this world, because then you're fooled. There's Mount Sinai's all over the world. There's duplicates of everything in this world. They had to duplicate it all, because there's energies coming out of each one. I've got one about 50 miles from here, even less. So we did GH, we did F, and did we do I and F, 6 and 9? That's what we did. We did J and E, which is G and H, I mean. Then 7 and 8, and 6 and 9, 6, 7, 8, 9. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You know what it says? J-U, okay. It says copper in French, except it says with a J. It's cuivre. But they say juivre. And in French, that would be Jewish. Right of that part of the numerology. But don't forget, The wish and the I, because it's together, doesn't mean you're now a religion of synchronicity. All it means is I wish. Because in French, when they say le croire, it means to believe. And to wish, to have a wish, is to have a belief. And when you have a belief, you go for your belief. You just don't let it sit there. Oh, I believe in this and I wish for this. Well, think about it and let your life be so beautiful because you have a nice belief in your mind. The right beliefs. Everybody does know already, we live under certain domes that have, in North America and Europe, the way I see it, under certain places they couldn't get there, like in California. That's why they had to have that BP spill. I think they were drilling underneath the ground when something went, rather than the oil. I think all this oil they're actually getting, they're just pumping up all over the world from underneath the ground. In certain areas, more or less than not. In regards to saying to, I could be wrong, but I have to look at it this way, that for every hydrant that goes down under the ground, another oil well has been plugged under the ground. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm getting a lot of views on one of my videos, which is the stupidest one of 40 seconds, saying it's my 3 houses, my 3 sons, my 3 houses. And you had to bring gas, electric, and water over to these 3 houses without crisscrossing the lanes. So I cheated. I went under the first 2 houses that were delivering, never crossing their lines. So there must have been a reason I got 500 views and why everybody else is getting a lot of views on their 3 houses. More than just 3 houses. Secondly, in Monopoly, I think there's only 9 hotels. I never really read the rule books about that, but there's 9 hotels. There's no more. Nobody else can build a hotel now. And you don't want everybody to own all the hotels, so you have to own any hotel. All hotels are good in Monopoly. Doesn't matter where you are. But eventually, tagging along with the rich, if you're playing 4 people, he won't have the richest ones, and that'll be broken up, or nobody will end up having it at all. Or some people will pig out and have no money left. Monopoly is 40 one way, 40 the other way makes 80. But what happens if you were going on an angle or a staircase from one corner to the next corner? Or what if you were going on a staircase that was actually taking you nowhere? Let me see if I have this design. You know what? You know when a bag is good, when this bag is empty, it's thin. When it's not, it's not. I just want to try and see if I can draw this up here. I'm going to draw it real quick. So we'll see what we can end up with. If you take a look, this is the letter R. You take a look, this one's the other R. There are 2 R's. We go up the staircase, we go down the staircase. We go down the staircase, we go up the staircase. We go up the staircase, we go down. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now the question is, how did this one look so far and this one look so close? Do you see where my mistake is somewhere? This is how it ends up working out. The balancing beam is here. We end up with 1 stick here, 1 stick here, and of course this angle to here. Let me just draw that up. And now it can tilt to here and tilt to here, and this will keep adjusting it. This goes a little bit deeper into here. This has a rocker panel on it, and then it locks into here. And this can just bend down, or this can bend down. And then they can take this whole thing and spin it around, and then put you upside down and put this above you. I can't really explain, though. There's just no direct question. I've had too many answers. And if you really want to look at it, what happens is this one would be the bottom of the spade. I just took a look at it. This one would be the bottom of the spade, let's say. You know, the leg. And this would be the club. Center, balancing on 3. This would be your head over here. These are your 2 arms over here. The rest of your body's down here. But screw them, because you ain't getting laid right now, so we don't need to waste time, and we don't need your waste in our way. The pelvis, the Elvis, the movement of the hips, and the shipment of the ships. From overseas and down and under. What was wrong with all the blenders that came back from Japan and Hong Kong? What is all this stuff going back and forth? Can I tell you something? If I see it and it's really a game, they're just shipping it in and out because that's the way it works in the game. This is where we are. They already know the score. They already know basically who's what in front right now between any of the groups. They all know. And they all couldn't care less, and they sit down at meetings anyways, and they make like they're doing something. But everything's already been done. It's already been screenplay. They got to be, listen, for medication and rats to die in pharmaceutical companies, it's not 1 year. It's years. So whatever's happening now happened a long time ago. We're just seeing the reoccurrence now because we weren't alive then at that time. That long. I'd say as much as 72 years. Every 72 years. So the presidents have already started coming back to life, if that's the way it works. 72 years go by, first president comes back. 76 goes by, another president comes back. But you know what? Every time I look at Obama, all I can think of is Herbert Hoover. Imagine if Obama was really Herbert Hoover, or Truman, or who's that one that went through the war? I mean, who knows? He's got a different body. Talks very well, like he knows everything. He's a funny guy. Maybe he just came back to play a role in the ending games. But don't forget, we are only the peas in the pods. Everybody. I don't think we know really anybody who's really Raphael 7286. Don't forget 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Juive, it means to sew together. Juive means Jewish. Okay, Gentile is to be gentle. So if you're telling me these are not numerological numbers and names, I'm going to tell you another thing. I just found out yesterday that Abraham's real name was Abra. Okay, and that makes a big difference in my life, you know, because the ham part that was put on at the end is a ham radio signal, which tells me a little bit more that the story of Abraham made up a good story to fit right inside Rubik's Cube. Because Rubik's Cube, number 74, is part of Jesus Christ. That's his number. That's the center of 36 numbers. That's the center of your baseball. Rubik's Cube 312. Isn't that funny, the way they call the cube and it's reversed the creation of 1 and 2? 1 and 2 was created by 3. How? When you go to Rubik's Cube corner, you'll see 1 point to 3 colors. C-U-B-E. You be? I be a what bee? You be a bee. I'm not a bee. I'm not going buzzing around. I'm not going to be the spirit. You be a bee. I want to be an A. You want to be an A. I'm going to be a C. Well, you're going to be a C. Sure, the lower down you get, the more you get into this world. Because when you get F, it means business, and now you're here. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, right after 4. If you only get to D, you're only part of the mind. So cube, 3, 1, 2. No, 3, 2, 1. Ow, completely backwards? Yeah, 3, 2, 1. Ooh, almost like pi. You want to start with pi? I'll tell you about pi. Stick my finger in that pi. 3, 2, 1 is 24, 25, 26, plus 5, 31. Wow. 1 and 3, letter N. 1 and 3, it's the beta corners. Why? Because there's more than one. It's B on the inside, but it's also B on the outside. Because God's got a 4-way flasher going on every single corner. 2 and 2. He can butterfly his flashers. You know why? Because every corner takes up 2 more spaces. Because you have to cross corner. You have to cut off all the corners. Well, how do you want to get around the game? There's no corners. You don't see a racetrack with corners, do you? Everything is round and goes around. Now I'm talking too much. Raphael 7286. I didn't complete what I wanted to say. Cuivre. And the cuivre, they want to take the pennies off the market. Cuivre is a circuit to connect yourself down to the ground. It's an energy from underneath the ground. It's copper. Okay, now I don't know if they don't want us to have this copper in our hands anymore, so they removed all the copper. They removed the paper because they don't want us to have that paper because the paper retains. Okay, and it's not even paper, it's like a cotton. And cotton retains something in it. And this money can be washed. All right. Anyways, I heard this girl was going to school today with a bracelet on her hand, and I told her to take it off. It's not good to wear any bracelets. They can choke your hand. So she gets into the school, and the teacher comes up there and says, put on this bracelet. And she said to the teacher, she said, oh, no, teacher. My daddy just told me to take off my bracelet because he can squeeze me and kill me. So I took off my bracelet. I can't put on yours. Well, put it on. You're in my class. I'm sorry. Well, I'm in my father's class first because my father taught me best. Put on that bracelet right now. Ma'am, are you going to keep screaming at me? I already told you once. The bracelet is yours and it's not mine. I don't want to put on something that's yours and then forget about it, and then it will squeeze my hand because you'll be the one squeezing my hand. I don't think anybody should be wearing a bracelet, okay, or has to. I think it's only if the mother wants, and it shouldn't be monitored. It should be on and off the way the child wants it. When the child leaves for the day, if the mother turns it on with her key, she turns it on. If the mother doesn't turn it on and your child gets lost, well, you know why childs get lost, eh? That's a setup, man. This whole world's a setup. You get one says it's good because the other one says it's good, and they're all starting to do the wrong thing. You know what it's like with your friends, man? Just a little bit of weed. Yeah. Have a little drink. Yeah. Pick up a little line. Sure. What's next? Well, there ain't nothing else, so give me more. Give me more. Oh, fuck. I'm broke. You think you can give it to me on the arm? Hey, you don't pay me back to cut off your arm. Well, you can't cut off my arm. They put the bracelet on my arm now. You cut that arm off, my bracelet dies. They'll come and get you. Oh, boy. Good thing for those bracelets, eh? Just in case somebody wants to take a rain check on you. What do you mean a rain check? Well, that's when you got one arm lost and you can't hold your umbrella up because you're holding your dick and you're pissing. The bracelet? Can I tell you something? They can put every person that's on the street into their own small house like they have in China. Everybody has a place. You're not picking on anybody. They pick on their own selves. If they can't, they can get themselves a small place, and you give them food, and you feed every single one of them. And not only that, you put a guard. On every single corner in New York City, you put 10 policemen. Yeah, spend the money. Pay the policemen the money. They're taking the chance. They're on the corner. But now they can swing to the cop. Hey, I'm going for a cop. You check my corner. There'll be so many policemen on the street. That's not a problem. But they don't care if you smoke weed. And they don't care if you're drunk. But just don't go or disorderly conduct. Or they're not supposed to take you in. The policeman should come over and be more or less a doctor and say, sir, can I help you? And then once he gets a little rude, well, the policeman has to be a little bit more like a policeman at this point. So, I mean, with the money they're spending somewhere else, somebody, I don't even want to really get into what's going to go over there and what's going to come over here, because I know one thing, okay? You can do so many things, okay, with baggage on a plane. You can do so many things. I want to ask you a question. In the last 50 years that the plane is, how many people have taken out a knife on the plane? I want to know this year, how many people have even taken out a knife? Because if somebody has a plastic knife and he takes it out, that's a knife. He can do dangerous things if he's fast enough with that knife. You know what I'm saying? Checking little girls. What are we, smuggling? You see somebody with a little bit of drugs, leave the drugs go. We're not looking for the drugs. Now you're busting everybody's balls. Holy fuck. Who is that? Who is controlling? We will teach the people what freedom of love and freedom of liberty actually means. We have to go to an area that does not exist in this world, okay? And that is the spirit energy. To believe that there's something there that's actually not there at all because you don't see it. So you have to sort of believe it that way. But at the same time, know you want to live a good life and do all the right things, so you must learn that energy of connective love, because that's your communication. And without it, nothing works. You can't do your banking, you can't drive a car, you can't see, you can't eat. You need a congestive love, knowing for everything that you do. But you cannot do everything, because the minute you think of doing number one, you have to look and think about number two or number three, because that's the law. We must do 1, 2, 3 before we open the door 4. Before we move into the E-world 5. Before we begin our business 6 and get into our car. Number 7, we get onto the road, and into the world 8 we are. We're reborn again as 9, but we always remain at 8. We are 8 of creation, which makes 24 hours. But we are only living 16 of those hours, and maybe even 15. Why? Something to do with the clock. A, something to do with the clock. B, something to do with the clock. C, it could be they have made us a certain way so our bodies can only regenerate after a certain number of years, and certain things don't regenerate. But they could regenerate. They know how to regenerate us because we're already regenerating our follicles every day. Why can't we make the rest of it work? Because in pool, they say we are copper 1 and copper 2. We are the burgundy-ish, brownish ball between the 7 and the 15. 7, 4, and 15 actually says God. 15 says 6, 7 is 7, 7 and 6, the spirit of the stripes. We've all been pinned up like donkeys and hung out to dry. We don't see right, we don't walk straight, and all we see is that we do. Until you learn to move your mind in the right direction, we will never walk straight. It's not walking with your feet. It's all about walking with your mind. And just about everything that I have mentioned is all about only the mind, and how the mind can perceive, how the mind can believe, and what we need to do within our own minds. You see, we've come to a day and age, and I don't like to say give up, but we're in a tough position right now. Who to listen to? There's so many out there. That's why they let the computers go, because there's so many out there. They just couldn't actually stop everybody from saying certain things. And plus the energy vibration that we're no longer getting, unless one apparently seems to be rock and roll, seems to scratch out the right vibration that works into this world. I'm like almost certain Archie, Jughead, Reggie. Reggie and Archie, Reggie and Richie Rich. Both Reggies were no good, but Richie Rich was good. So why did they want us to hate Reggie? Who else is there? Should we talk about the zebra and why she's so angry? Or should we just stop right here? We're going to stop right here. I always seem to get a little hung by the tail once I get into it. Raphael, Mr. Tackpans, 7286, age 3. Remember I'm telling you always creation age 3? Well, there you go, age 3.